Hey there, and welcome everybody to the Next Level Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ant-Man Z, as always with my right-hand man, Andrew Crash Nash. We got the final wild card matchup for you tonight. Monday night, 8 p.m. It's going to be the 14-3 Minnesota Vikings against the 10-7 LA Rams. Not in LA, though. It's going to be at Glendale, Arizona, due to the wildfires that's going on over there in California. But Crash, what's your keys to this matchup?
Yeah, Glendale. Went through there for a minute, heading out to LA, and awesome stadium. Well, question is, which LA team are we going to see? Are we going to see the LA Rams? That's, you know, McVay's team that's taken this catastrophe out there in LA that we thought we were going to see with Jim's team. Are they going to use all this fuel and all this compassion, this passion, and put forth a real good run here at the playoffs and give us a really good game? Are we going to see missed arm tackles, drop balls, just some horrible football? It could go either way. You know, when these two teams played last time, the Rams got them actually 30-20, a little bit of a mollywop,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know. And so I'm kind of wondering it could go both ways. But let me tell you something, and you know me, I constructively criticize, but then when I'll give you kudos and props also.
Yep.
One of the most underrated quarterbacks, I feel, that will go in the Hall of Fame. He should. I love when you say Matthew Stafford, my ears perk up and I say, my man. I
Yeah.
loved him in Detroit. And I love him still.
Yeah, he's been a heck of a baller. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer too myself, mainly because of what happened the last time that he was in the Super Bowl, which is that he won it, Crash. And that's the final exclamation point on a very long storied career like his. Not many people know, but he's a top 10 quarterback in many of the stats that are pretty much pre-qualifiers for Hall of Fame status. And I think he fits that bill. I think this is going to be a great game. Another great quarterback storyline in it is the reemergence of Sam Darnold this year. Who would think that we would be saying his name as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL? But the Minnesota Vikings have one of the best offenses. They've got a great wide receiving duo in both Addison and, of course, all-world Justin Jefferson. He's probably the best in the business right now. They're a good team. They're going to be a good matchup, but Stafford's got some good weapons on his side, too. He's got Nakua. He's got Cooper Kupp. They've got Kyron Williams. You know what's funny, though, Crash, is that you said something just a minute ago. I'm hoping for a good matchup, too, because so far, besides the Buccaneer game, the rest of them have pretty much been blowouts, haven't they?
Yeah, man, it's been really sloppy football, not really anything great for the fans, So hopefully this will be one of those games tonight that will be just like we saw in last night's game, hopefully that's what I'm looking forward to. And as far as Sam Darnold goes, here goes the criticism, Crash's criticism again. Who would have thought, out of nowhere, right? Because like when I had forgot Kirk Cousins was gone, I was like, wait a minute, look at this team. And I'm looking over Sam Darnold,
Right.
and I don't know, bro. For me, he's kind of like, you have a flat tire and you put on the donut and you kind of you got to go 100 miles and you're kind of hoping that the tire stays on and you can get home. That's kind of my
Yeah.
take on Sam Darnold, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what showed up last week in Detroit, isn't it? Because they had a chance. This is the first team, by the way, to ever go 14-3. That's a
Mm.
phenomenal record. And then find themselves on the road in week one. But they had a chance last week. They had a chance last week to say, hey, the road's going to come through Minnesota by winning that game. And that was not Sam Darnold's best performance of the season, not by any stretch of the imagination. What'd you think of that game?
No, not at all. On really both sides. But then again, we'll get to them. Who do I love the most? That's my Lions that we're talking about. Okay. I'm very high on them. I think that Ant and everybody else does too
Oh,
when they
yeah.
hear me. But we have to understand also. But I don't want to take anything from Coach Aaron Glenn. Okay, but come on, man, they're a beat up team. You know what I mean? You can't do any better than that against the Detroit Lions. Something
Yeah.
tells me that I don't know. maybe the Rams could get their number tonight. If that's the case,
To be fair to the Minnesota Vikings and any fans that are watching, there was a play right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I want to say that at that point, Detroit was only up 8 points. It's a one-score game entering the fourth quarter, and Jared Goff already threw 2 interceptions on the day. They did pick him twice, and there was a pass that went right into the hands of Van Ginkel, and he had an easy bead. You remember the play? He had an easy bead on a pick six, and it just somehow, I don't understand what happened, that the physics there, it went into his hand and shot back out of it like it just wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Crash, we might have a tie game going into the fourth quarter there against those Lions, which might make the end of that game look completely different.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. The Vikings, Vikings for me are we going to the Keys yet? I'm sorry, I'm kind of going ahead of you.
No, you're good.
The Vikings, have been very good at stopping the run. They've been stout.
Yeah.
But I want to. It's hard to come. I don't like comparing people. I don't like comparing others at times. But we got to go to what Jamar Gibbs does. But can you really compare Jamar? He got 139 yards on him, $139 for 23 carries, 3 tatters. But he's just one of a kind. I mean, he's special. Compared, do we cross-examining with this running back? What's his name for the
Kyren Williams?
Kyren Williams. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
He's going to be key for me in the offensive line for the Rams. To get everything going, because this pass rush, I tell you, with the Vikings, you got to get something going, or we could see I could see them having a long night. Matthew Stafford, despite his legendary resume, and we know he's going to go in the Hall of Fame, it could be a tough night for them.
It sure could. And you know what? They're 14-3 record, and all we talk about is their offense and the reemergence of Sam Darnold. And, of course, they got Aaron Jones over from the Green Bay Packers, and he hasn't missed a beat there as their running back. And a lot of times we overlook just how good Minnesota's defense has been all year. You don't get to a 14-3 record without having a defense that can shut people down. They are more than capable of doing that. And Crash, I'm a little concerned about the Rams offense having sputtered the last month of the season. They did find a way to win games. I want to say that they come into this having won 5 of their last 6. Last week, they rested their starters. They did lose that game. But in that game, they scored more points with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm than they had in the previous 5 weeks with Stafford.
Oh, you've been doing your research, I see. Then as well, you're going flashing back. You're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. Grop, man, and they did exactly. They scored more points, but then at the same time, we have to look at both teams. We have to look at the Vikings defense sputtering out. How many? What was it? How many they only posted on the Detroit defense was what at 9? What was that score? 9.
Right.
Vikings only put up 9 points. So. But you know what? Here's the deal. Both these coaches, McVay, veteran coach, he's been here before. O'Connell, I don't know much. What do I know? Why is that name ring such a bell for me, Ant? He's almost 40-ish years old. I looked up. Why is Kevin O'Connell ring a bell at me? Where's he been before? Do you know?
As far as like his coaching, which coaching tree he comes from?
Right.
I want to say that he comes out, if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check this.
Please.
Quick. This is what the internet is for here.
Right.
He is out of Sean McVay. So that's what makes this matchup very interesting as well, too.
Reason I ask, huh? See?
Yeah. So that's going to be a key point, I think. Obviously, the coaching is going to be huge. We've seen that already. That's been the bigger storyline than anything else so far, is which coach has the right schematic, because so far we haven't seen anybody be able to adjust. So it's almost as if this is a one roll of the dice, and who's going to start it out right tonight?
And here's one for you that maybe not many are counting for, other than maybe players themselves or coaches or ex-coaches. Here you go. Crash is really big into weather. Everything matters. And here we're going, okay, this might be a great thing for the Rams and the Vikes, because guess what? They're going on that is going to be turf, I suppose. And the weather, of course, we can count on the weather being nice because so hey, listen, this could be great for both quarterbacks, right?
Right. Yeah, that could be. I mean, both of them are not exactly the most mobile, so
I'm
that
talking
that
about the
helps.
wind and
Yeah,
the elements
I'm
and
actually
all
just
that.
thinking about the turf too, because that slows down a defense just a little bit, which gives the quarterback. These guys are both pocket passers. It gives them just an extra split second, which that can make all the difference in the world to be able to make a decision and throw the football. So I think that plays into it because both of these teams are dome teams, right? Like LA's indoors and
Right.
Minnesota's indoors. So if they're on a turf field, that's already going to give them both an advantage over their defenses because personally, I'm not really interested in watching this game come down to a 10-6 fourth quarter final
No,
drive. I'd like to see
no.
some points put on the board. These are two high-flying offenses. I want to see the numbers put up between Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and what Jefferson and Addison are going to be able to do. And I want to see that is where I want to see which team, which coach is able to dial up the defensive changes when necessary to make the big stop at the end of the game to get their team off to the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. I played on both. I played on turf and natural grass. I seem to always be faster on turf. It's you can. Here's the one for you. Susceptible to injuries with everything that's happening right now with all the injuries. And listen, we're late in the season. I don't like speaking it out, but you got to be careful about injuries also on this turf. And being
Yeah.
late in the season.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what the weather's like in Glendale, but I guarantee you it's probably not as cold as it was in some of those East Coast games yesterday. I don't know if that will play too much of a significant factor, but what I'm thinking is going to be the biggest factor in this game is
Shoot.
you said earlier, Sam
Yeah.
Darnold. Which
Yeah.
Sam Darnold shows up? Is it one that's going to be able to put some points on the board, which is going to cause the Rams to maybe have to get a little bit desperate? Or is it going to be the fluttering Sam Darnold that the defense has to keep them in the game just to even make it worthwhile?
Yeah. Yeah. So who's your key players you think, Ant, or in this
Well,
game?
besides Sam Darnold, right? Like Sam Darnold, I think everything rests on him. I say if Sam Darnold has a fantastic game, that the Minnesota Vikings handle the Rams and handle them easily this time. I have the Vikings winning by 14 points if Sam Darnold is able to execute. Now, if you take that
Decisively.
card away, if you take
Decisively.
that card away, then I think it can come down to a field goal on the last drive. And as we've seen so far, Crash, that's just a roll of the dice. Which team's going to have the football?
Hey, man, guess what? This is the first time we actually are not in agreement.
Okay.
Check this out. So, uh, for me, something in my spirit, and here goes another one of these intuitions this Crash is having.
I
This
like it.
Nakua is
Yeah,
his
Puka
name?
Nacua. He's great. Yep.
Something's telling me because Cooper Kupp hasn't been real hot, flashy. The tight end that they're just getting back, they just got him back. Something's telling me
Yep.
that look out for this kid here. Something special might happen. And on the other flip side of the ball, I don't know. Here we go again. Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
I'm looking for him to really take off in this game. In fact, here's one of Crash's prediction. I'm saying he's going to have the best game that he's had all year. Let's see if I'm right.
Wow. Okay, that's going to be a fun one to watch right there. The other key story to watch in this will be, of course, the running backs between Aaron Jones and Kyren Williams. If these guys are able to get the ball moving on the ground, that might be what dictates what those defenses are able to do. If either defense has to pull guys up into the box to slow them down, I think both of these quarterbacks could have a field day throwing the ball downfield.
Here's something that's interesting, Ant. Last time these two teams played, this is very interesting as we talk about mobile or ill-mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
As great as the pass rush is for the Vikings, last time they met, they did not sack Stafford not one time. And in fact, the last 4 games, he's not been sacked.
Sounds like somebody else did their homework too. You're right. He hasn't been. And that's been one of his knocks his whole career. But you know what that tells us, people that know the game and understand the game? It's just not that he's running around and, making miracles happen, because he's still not that fast. It means that he's getting the ball out of his hands, Crash. He's got
Yeah.
himself a 3-step drop. He's got himself in a rhythm. And for a pocket passer, it is all about that rhythm.
Yeah. Well, it's also telling me that McVay is also shortening the routes up with these guys. He's not trying to get the home run every time. You can't do it. He's a smart coach. He knows what he's doing. Something tells me, here we go. You want Crash's pick. Something tells me we're looking for the Rams to show up, and finally they're going to take this game by a field goal.
So it will be that scenario.
Yeah,
Okay,
I believe so.
I'm with you on that. And I think the three big matchups are the receiving cores of the Rams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, versus the Vikings, Addison and Jefferson. And then, of course, it's the quarterbacks. It's Stafford versus Darnold. And then, of course, it's going to be the two coaches. And is it going to be McVay, or is it going to be the former student of McVay?
Which both have done, yet again, have done a great job again this year, especially this O'Connell. You got to give him credit, man.
Absolutely. I'm expecting a good game in this, Crash. At the bare minimum, I want to hold it to that. How do you feel?
Yeah. What is it again?
I said I want a good game out of this. How do you feel?
Oh, absolutely. Come on, man. Let's give us one more good game before we go. Because I'm going to tell you something. The next round, we are going to get just that. I truly believe that. But let's not have some sloppy play. Come on, give us a great football game tonight. LA deserves it.
I like that. Lord, you heard him. Bless the man with a great game and one that's good for the residents of Los Angeles. They need as much help as they can get in Jesus' name. All right. God bless you guys. We'll see you in the next one.
All right.